Have you ever just looked up at the sky or out at the world and wondered, is this whole thing just a cosmic accident? Is it all random chaos? Or is there maybe a master plan, an architect's blueprint for all of existence? Today, we're going to dive into a worldview that argues for exactly that, a coherent, designed system for everything. Right? I mean, that's the big one. Is it chaos or is it design? And the framework we're digging into today offers a really fascinating answer. It suggests that, yeah, not only is there a design, but you don't have to take it on blind faith. You can actually understand it using your own reason. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. The entire concept, and I mean everything we're about to talk about, rests on one single foundational idea. The universe is not arbitrary. It operates on fixed, unchanging principles. The specific term for this is Sunnat Allah. Now, really let that sink in for a second. This isn't about a God with shifting moods who changes their mind on a whim. Nope. It's about a consistent, unwavering system of cause and effect. It's as reliable and predictable as gravity. You drop something, it falls. Every time. And this contrast is absolutely crucial. See, on one side, you could have a reality governed by random whims, where life becomes this desperate scramble to win favor or avoid anger. But on the other side, you have a reality governed by law. And in that system, your primary duty isn't to appease, but to understand, to act rationally within the rules of the game. So if the universe is this big, predictable system, where do we fit in? What's our role? Well, this framework gives humanity a very specific, and I mean very active, job description. That role is called Khalifah, which we can translate as trustee or steward. And listen, this is not some honorary title you just put on a nameplate. It's a mandate. It frames all of us as the designated caretakers of this planet, and we are tasked with actively building a civilization that is fair, functional, and just. So how does a trustee even begin a job that big? Well, the framework lays it out in a pretty clear three-part process. Step 1, observe the universe. Use your reason, use science, and understand the laws of the world around you. Step 2, reflect on the self. Look inward, at human nature, at what makes us tick. And then, crucially, step 3, you take all that knowledge and you act on it. You build. You implement justice. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds very orderly, very rational, which of course brings up the biggest, most obvious challenge to any system that claims to be perfect. Yeah, that one. If the design is so flawless, why is there so much suffering? Why do we have to deal with loss, injustice, and pain? It's the classic question, right? And this framework has a very specific answer. And the answer is kind of a mind-bender. It says that suffering isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. It's an intentional mechanism that's been designed for a very specific purpose. It's not a sign that the blueprint has failed, but a sign that it's actually working. So what on earth is that function? Well, according to the blueprint, pain is an architected test. It's designed to forge our moral resilience, to purify us from things like arrogance, and to act as a catalyst that forces us to grow, to innovate, and to develop real compassion. This idea is captured perfectly in this verse from the Quran. It suggests that our human perspective is just limited. What we see as terrible might be serving a higher purpose, a deeper good that we just can't see from our vantage point. We're looking at the back of the tapestry with all the knots and messy threads. But the source material is really clear that these external challenges are only half the battle. The main reason the world deviates from the blueprint isn't because of outside forces, but because of an internal one. Okay, let's unpack this concept. We have this idea of Iblis, often translated as Satan, but in this framework, it's not some external demon with a pitchfork. It's understood as an allegory for the rebellious state of our own nefs, our ego. You know, that internal voice that prioritizes immediate selfish desire over long-term rational planning? That's it. That's the force we're talking about. So this sets up the crucial internal conflict, right? It's a constant battle between our rational self, which wants to build and align with the blueprint, and our rebellious ego, which creates chaos in its demand for instant gratification. This is where the system breaks down. And this leads to a pretty profound conclusion about responsibility. This verse says that the condition of a society won't change through some magical external intervention. Real, lasting change only happens when individuals start winning that internal battle and transform what's inside themselves.
So if the problem is internal and the goal is to build a just world, what's the practical path forward? How do we actually align ourselves with the architect's blueprint?
Well, the solution is a set of clear actions. First, use your intellect as your main tool. Second, reject just blindly following traditions that don't stand up to rational scrutiny. Third, embrace radical accountability for your actions. And finally, get to work actively building justice out in society. Because the ultimate takeaway from this entire framework is that faith isn't a passive state of being. It's active obedience. It is the process of translating knowledge of the divine blueprint into the tangible, real-world construction of a just and compassionate world. And that brings this whole explainer right back to us, to a personal and pretty provocative final thought. The blueprint is there, the materials are provided, and the choice is ours. So the only question left is, what will you choose to build?